Good morning! I'm Colette Kawaii and I'm going to be reviewing the Chainsaw Man manga. I thought since there's not as much cosplay on this channel, there will be because I'm planning to do something with Chainsaw Man. That's for the future. Anyway, oh, and in the future, November, I'll be going to Anime NYC and I'll be cosplaying Rei from Evangelion, school uniform version. So that is definitely happening. I'll say I was basically forced into reading the manga, not because I had to, but I felt like the anime just came out, I should probably read through the entire manga. I know a lot of people when the anime comes out, they'll reread mangas that they already read. And I had wanted to anyway, I just never got the opportunity to. So this is going to be a review. I have always wanted to review things like this. Not that I think my opinions are so valid or anything, but I think they're funny, and I'm gonna be posting my initial thoughts while I'm watching the first episode of the anime, as well as my afterthoughts. So I think that'll be fun. Obviously I can't show the actual TV show, but I'll show my reactions to stuff and kind of intersperse that. Like this, I'll be showing you the images that I would like to show you from the chapters that I'm going over. I'm going over basically going to like 90, so this may be split up into 2 parts. I'm gonna jump right into it. My initial thoughts before going into the manga was that it was going to be gory. I knew that. That's the kind of stuff I prefer, so I do enjoy that. I like a lot of comedic relief, and I feel like I got that from the manga. However, it wasn't that funny. Like, it was not as funny as I thought it would be. There's one line I'll share with you which I thought was the funniest line in the entire manga, and I don't know why, but it just threw me off guard so much. I thought the protagonist looked super cool. I thought Power looked a lot like this one character. I'll throw her up here. My sister brought this up to me, and I feel the same way about her as my sister does. I'm gonna say this. I was supposed to read the manga. I started the first 2 pages and then I went to bed. And it's not that I was bored, but the idea that I could read the first 2 pages and then drop the book like it was hot is a little weird. But I did end up reading like 50 chapters in one day, so it flew by. This is basically, I didn't really focus on chapters 1 to about 15 because, in my opinion, they were story building and kind of character building and a lot of world building, basically, where we, as an audience, were getting to learn the dynamics of the world that they live in Japan. And I will say Denji's motivation, which his motivation for working with the Bureau, working under Makima, being like, what was it, like a devil killer or something? Oh, a devil hunter. I liked it. I thought it made sense to me as a 16-year-old boy. It also made sense to me that as someone who hasn't really had a lot in his life prior to now, would want, plus who has never had any love life at all. And even though his motivation is like funny and we're supposed to be like, that's comedic, like haha, very funny, I kind of understood it, and I did like it. It made more sense to me than something more dramatic like Aki's story, which does make sense to me as well, but like for Denji as a character, that motivation worked for me. I loved Pochita. I think Pochita was so cute. Oh my god, I should let you guys know, like, this is gonna be filled with spoilers, of course, I'm reviewing the whole manga. I loved Pochita. I thought he was so cute and so sweet. Even though he's not really in it, I just liked it. I thought the character design was really cute. What I didn't like was, okay, I'm gonna give you, like, this is straight because I have my notes from when I was exactly reading it. I hated Makima as soon as she was introduced. I did not like her. I did not like her character. There was nothing about her that was appealing to me. I didn't think she was drawn like she was really attractive. I just thought she was basic. Like, I was like, whatever. I don't really care about her character. I didn't like that she talked about how different Denji was as a character and then proceeds to introduce Power right away, which I know that Denji's different because a part of the devil is like inside of him, or that's what they're trying to say, but he just basically made a contract with Pochita, but Pochita actually likes Denji. And then we meet a Devilman like immediately, and they're basically like the same thing. I don't know, like it feels like there's not much of a difference, so I don't understand why everyone was like, Chainsaw Man. You don't really understand until the end, but it still doesn't make that much sense. Whatever, major loser. Look at this weird piece of hair. Moving on, we're gonna hit chapter 6. I did not like Aki in the beginning. I thought it was really funny, the scene where Denji kicks Aki in the balls like a bunch of times. They're like fighting or whatever. But then Aki's character takes like a complete 180 and he becomes like stoic and not comedic relief at all, ever, okay? When prior to that he was, which is why I don't feel like those first 10 chapters are really that significant to talk about, because it feels like things just turn on their head immediately. So I like him at this part. He had grown on me. I really appreciate his character and how normal he is compared to the other ones. They mention that normal devil hunters don't last, and he has, and I appreciate that he is significantly more level-headed than everybody else that we have met, and that we like really know up until that point. And yeah, I did like that. I liked it. Was kind of like a breath of fresh air. I also really enjoyed that concept that they talk about where it's like they don't last that long, the normal devil hunters, and we already know that Aki is going to die in 2 years because that's what he's told by the weapon that he uses, which is this sword that basically every time he uses it, it takes a part of his lifespan. And that is crazy to me that he only has 2 years left. Like, what the heck was he doing? What was he doing that we don't know about? This chapter, I just wrote down, I hate Kobeni, or whatever her name is, such an ass. And yes, I do hate her. This is the chapter where, around this time, this is when she tries to give Denji to the devil that has basically trapped them in the hotel on the 8th floor. It's not really important, but this is where I was like, this character sucks. And I thought she sucked anyway, but this is where I was like, she sucks. Oh, I also called her, I said, literally so useless. And that is exactly how I feel about her. I like the fox devil that Aki made a contract with, which is Kon. He's not the only one that is contracted with that devil, but I think this is so funny. When you go like this and then the fox appears. We're gonna move on to chapter 25. I know we're bouncing really fast, but maybe next time I could do an in-depth analysis of like mangas by chapter by chapter. I think I would do that with the Devilman series as they release the second part. But for now, because this is like a kind of catch-up that I did, I'm just doing all of it in one go. Okay, so I didn't talk about Himeno as a character because I kind of skipped over all of that stuff, but I will say I did not really like her, but I really appreciate I did enjoy her banter with Aki, and that you can tell she really likes him and trusts him as one of her underlings, stuff like that. I did really think that was sweet, and it's very devastating when she calls on the ghost devil that she's made a contract with, where she basically uses up her entire life to save everybody else, especially Aki, because she really does love him. I did not like her character because she was creepy, and we're not gonna go into that, but I did not like that at all. Her throwing up in Denji's mouth and stuff like that. But this chapter where she does die gave her character some sort of humanity and layers that she didn't previously have when we were reading. Except you could tell that she was a little bit more of like a full character and a full person when she's talking with Aki in the past. They like show the past. Okay, character design wise, the ghost is so cool. I love the way that this devil is designed. It is so creepy. The long black scraggly hair, which is very typical for scary Japanese horror movies. I just the design blew me away. All of the legs, I love the legs, and the floral body, although kind of weird. I feel like the concept all made sense because a lot of times dead people are surrounded by flowers, and the long hair, right? Because a lot of times in the Japanese horror movies, the women with the long black hair are ghosts. She's completely blind and she cannot talk or anything. And she crawls on her legs, okay? Chapter 29. Okay, we're skipping 4 chapters. Why am I crazy? Okay, this is the chapter where Denji is surprised that he doesn't feel like crying when he thinks about Himeno being dead. And I thought this was kind of ludicrous because he starts believing that he doesn't have a heart, but we know that Pochita is part of his heart, has merged with his heart and is inside of him, so he still has feelings. And it just makes sense to me that Denji still has humanity, because he's kind of going off this notion, because this is brought up a few times in the manga, that devil men really don't have those kinds of feelings, like caring and love and stuff like that. But he definitely does, because he loved Pochita, and Pochita did definitely love Denji to some degree, because he merged himself with Denji in order to kind of make Denji be able to live again, because he was going to die by the zombie devil men previously in like chapter 2. So that didn't make any sense to me, and I think if you're a reader that isn't really reading and just absorbing, then you're not really thinking about that or caring about that. But I was kind of like, this doesn't work for me. Like, I know that he has feelings. Okay, chapter 30. So this is kind of, oh, just kidding. This is chapter 30. I was gonna say we're kind of like rolling the ball now, but we are not. Chapter 30, we officially kind of meet the old man. I forgot his name. The old man as a character, and he's working with Makima. I don't think he works under her. I think he's working like with her. But I think everyone works under Makima, but like he's kind of like on the top level. And she recruits him to train Denji and Power. And I actually really liked him. I think the test that he gives Denji and Power as soon as they meet him at the graveyard was really good. I thought it made sense to me. I liked his questions. I liked their reasoning. The dialogue there I thought was really good. And some of the stuff I hope to see in the anime, obviously. I also liked his character because, like I said, I hate Makima. Like, I hated her the entire time. And I hated the way she treated Denji. As soon as the manga started, I hated it. And I like that the old man basically comes out and tells Makima he's sick of her giving him her dogs, basically. And for him to watch them die. She basically just has these dogs, gives the dogs being the devil men and the people that work under her, gives them to the old man, and then he has to watch them die over and over and over again. He's kind of sick. He's also an alcoholic, obviously, because he's struggling with these kinds of things that is on like his regular life, you know? So I completely understand, and I feel sympathy with that. This chapter also grows Denji and Power's relationship. We know that they're really close. He talks about hating her sometimes because she still tries to kill him occasionally. Like, she tried to kill him in the beginning for Nyako, and I didn't talk about this at all because I was like, whatever. But when she tries to kill him in the beginning, I was like, oh, like, I just cannot. Like, I just don't care. Obviously, he's not going to die in the first few chapters. She asks in this chapter, want to run away together? He gives this answer that's basically, if we ran away, wouldn't the Bureau start actually treating us like devils? And here, this was a highlight for me, and it was funny because I also highlighted it later. The same thing happens kind of like parallel. This isn't the only time this happens in the manga, but parallel to a question that Reise asks him later on, and he still says no to that, even though he really wants to. He doesn't, because he cares more about Power and the other people in his life than he does Reise, even though he still wants a relationship with a girl because he really is like, girls, basically. Chapter 32, we get introduced to the Future Devil. Aki has to make a deal with the Future Devil because the Fox Devil doesn't want to work with him anymore because he made him eat something nasty, I believe, and the Fox was like, no, sorry, and won't go. If he calls him, he won't go. So he makes a deal with the Future Devil. And I actually really like the Future Devil's design, and I thought he was funny. And he like cracks jokes or whatever, and I actually enjoyed the banter that was happening in that scene because it's really upsetting, and Aki is still reeling from the death of Himeno, and I thought it was just funny. Kobeni didn't, like, she did not grow on me, and she does not grow on me here either, but I do appreciate her going after the snake. I think that's what the character is called. The snake, and allowing Aki to win. And this scene is so important. I think this scene was one of the most important scenes in the entire manga. So basically, after the snake devil and the sword devil man kill Himeno, they take the ghost devil that was contracted with Himeno, and Aki has to battle the snake who is using the ghost. And the ghost can sense fear because she can't see. So all she can do is smell. Basically, she's sensing the smell of fear. And she doesn't sense any fear on Aki because the ghost was used by Himeno, and Aki is kind of, he's so strong or whatever, and he basically walks, let me see if I can grab exactly what I'm looking for. The ghost devil holds its hand out and in front of Aki, opens its palm, and it has the cigarette where Himeno wrote "Easy Revenge" on it. Previously, this was like for Aki and Himeno's relationship, and allows Aki to walk into her and kill her from the inside, the ghost. It was just so, like, it just felt so important character-wise, and in my understanding of the devils and the people, the devil men and the people that have contracted these devils. It just felt very important for that world building sense. But then also I wanted to include the door for Denji that we see multiple times, and obviously I've read through the entire 100 chapters, so I know what happens with the door, but in my opinion it felt like it didn't feel malicious to me. Like, that was not very malicious when I saw it. We see Makima cry at the movie theater with Denji, and Denji also cries because of this movie. And I was thinking they gave her some kind of sense of humanity because of this. Like, it made me feel like she had a sense of humanity that I wasn't previously aware of when I was reading her character and like figuring out how I felt about her. But it was funny because it was like, oh, she feels this emotion because of this film. Like, that's what's feeding her emotion. Like, it's not real, right? And I'm a crier. Like, I will cry so hard. So I understand. We get introduced to Daisy, and my sister actually spoiled this character for me because she was saying that she didn't like her character at all. And I definitely felt the same way. I think when she's introduced, she's like, maniacal, and I think it feels like she's supposed to be a kind of a carbon copy of something like Denji, basically, with the way that she acts. And we'll figure out why, but my initial feelings were like, I didn't really like her that much, and she was lacking some sort of depth. And it was basically like Toka from Tokyo Ghoul. Like, I was like, yo, this whole concept is literally like Toka. Not like the character. The character was more like Rize, but it felt like Toka with her working at a coffee house and crap like that. Okay, chapter 42. This is where they talk about the analogy with the country mouse and the city mouse. So I was thinking it was super weird to me that Aki is watching over the angel devil so much. It felt like I couldn't understand why, especially because Aki talks about multiple times how he feels like how he hates devils and he hates devil men, obviously because he hates the gun devil. And it was strange to me, but I guess because they talk about the angel devil being probably the most connected to humans out of all the other devil men that they have, that would probably make the most amount of sense. This is where the angel devil talks about the country mouse analogy, where he says that he was a country mouse and Makima basically snatched him from the country and is forcing him to live in this city, and he would rather die, basically. He would rather die than live here and be under Makima's control. And that is what you get. Like, if you're thinking about it, that's what you get from what he says. And if you're not thinking about it, that's not what you get. And it's a little bit more of like a, but that is like, you know, the seed that he drops, where he has this feeling like he's stuck, but everybody else, like, they know that they're stuck, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like malicious up until that point. 43 is the parallel of Reise asking Denji if he will run away with her, just like Power does in the other chapter that we mentioned. And it's pretty obvious that Reise lures him in because of lust, because she understands that Denji is just looking for a partner, because Makima isn't fulfilling that for him and he's after Makima. But we can see inside of Denji's mind that he is really not about it, but he's willing to go through that because he kind of doesn't understand the dynamics. She like bites his tongue off, basically. She bites his tongue off, or a piece of his tongue out of his mouth. And I'll say this, he says he won't run away with her because, he says that he's kind of moving up in the bureau and he's getting perks that he wasn't getting before, and this is not really true. I was like, this doesn't make much sense. And he's just using it as an excuse, obviously, because he doesn't really like Reise and he really likes Makima. But later on, Reise says like, I know you like me, blah, 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 blah. And he acts like he did, but Reise, he doesn't really like her. And she actually kind of does like him, because when, in the next chapter, when she dies, she is very upset because the last thing she says is that she didn't go to school either, that she doesn't know what school is like either, and that's something that they talk about because she's like, a normal Japanese kid goes to school, did go to school, and she makes this claim like she has, and she really hasn't, and I think she's feeling some sort of connection with him because of that. Oh, they have a big fight scene. I'm not going to talk about it that much. It's not very important. I just skipped through all of my notes. That's crazy. It's not very important. She's the bomb devil man, basically. The whole fight kind of just pissed me off. I didn't really enjoy it. Obviously, everything is good. Like, the art is so good. But to me, I was like, ugh, like, I don't really care about this character. I like her more after the fact, but prior, I did not like her character at all. I still don't really like it, but her power is sick, though. Being able to blow your head up and just blowing shit up, that's sick, that's cool. OP, love it. She's incredibly strong compared to a bunch of the other devil men, which, you know, like, that's really cool. Like, that ends up having, like, more of a fair fight than some of the other devil men. Chapter 49, right? This is basically where we see the Angel Devilman's power for the first time, and we know he's OP because if he touches someone, he can literally drain their entire life force, and we see him do it for the first time, and it's very beautiful because it seems like he's kind of sad that he has to do it, and we also know that he wants to KHS, so we're kind of aware that whenever he does, he doesn't really want to do it, and especially, I'll talk about it later, but there's something that Aki does, and he's very upset by Aki doing it, so. Chapter 50. So, again, Aki is amazing and selfless as ever, and he saves the Angel Devilman's life. I'm just gonna call him Angel. He saves Angel's life, because Angel is falling, and he says, like, it's fine, I've already been ready to DIE, and Aki is like, absolutely not. He doesn't say that, but he just grabs Angel and holds on to him. And also here, this is very important, we get a glimpse of Angel. He accepts his death and he closes his eyes, and we get a glimpse of something, and it's this girl who's sitting on a beach. I knew that was really important, felt like it would definitely come up, and what in my head it was like his life flashing before his eyes, so that was something about his life that we were getting that we didn't know, like his previous life to what he's like now. And Aki grabs him knowing that his life force will drain him if he touches him, and he does it anyway. Aki says, this is what he says basically, so he loses 2 months of his life by doing this. And Aki says, if you want to die, then go someplace far away from me to do it. Please, I've had enough of watching people die in front of my eyes. And it's so sad and so devastating to hear, especially because the main character that we get is Denji, and a lot of the times his stuff is really comedic. So anything that we get from Aki is like an opposite of that, and very sad, so sad. Oh. My heart like literally flipped. That's what I wrote. since it was such an upsetting line. And this is also because he had just seen Himeno die, so it's very sad. I mentioned here that the manga basically lulls you into false sense of security, where Aki is getting his crotch kicked in by Denji in like chapter 10, and now we're fully aware Aki will die in a year and 10 months, and that's all we have left of his character. So like here, I basically felt like he was definitely going to die soon, because that's just how it rolls, and we already know he's only got a year left, so it's either we wait out that 2 years or he dies sooner. So that's all I'm gonna do for now, because it's so long and I feel like no one wants to hear me drone on, like just talk and talk and talk and talk. Thank you for joining me for part 1 of my review on the Chainsaw Man manga series, and hopefully I can put up the second part relatively soon. And then I can put up my review for the first episode of the anime. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it with my mom and my sister who have seen it and give you my opinions on that. So thank you for joining me, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and also hit the notification bell or whatever to be notified when I post. I post every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Not every single Sunday, but I'm gonna say every single Sunday for now. And I'll see y'all later. Good night.